has dedicated his life for the education of the marginalised youth of Burma. And I've sort of just shortened a little bit of the introduction, just because of the time limit. Dr. Rosie Yeoh, in taking care of the refugee women and children in the peripherals of Burma, she founded the Empowering Women of Burma in 1992. Next year at the Manila Conference, she was chosen to represent Asian women for the World Human Rights Conference in Vienna. After seeking asylum in Canada, she served at the University of Waterloo and later was awarded as the Women of Distinction of Manitoba in 2000. She is the incumbent heroine of the Canadian Foundation of BC. So he was General Secretary of a student union in Burma when in 1988 the general uprising erupted. He ran for his life with other demonstrators from bullets sprayed by Burmese soldiers in Rangoon. In the 1988 uprising, he was detained several times. He had 2 7-month sentences and another 11.5 months in detention for demonstrating in front of the Burma embassy. He came to Canada in 1996 and became a founding member of the Burma Student Democratic Organization. And welcome all 3 of you. Thank you so much. Questions from someone? Anyone? Any questions? Ah, thank you.
I was just wondering what your general impressions of the film are.
Should I you want to take them in turn?
Well, actually, the picture speaks 1,000 words. In fact, the situation there, because we are there, especially during the hospitalized, where they go into the hospital and shoot all the patients, is just a very real thing. It's much worse than when what it was depicted in the film.
Yeah, the film touches so much, and then I feel that it is today happening because I was there in 1988, and all these experiences are so real and so true that people are really, really frightened and threatened and really in hell at that time. So we need your support, Amnesty International, as well as international support, to help our country to get out from this life of hell. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you. After I watched the film, I feel like very satisfied, and then it was a great film. I understand that when making film, there is some difficulty about the locations and the actual shooting, which are very graphic. And then by myself, in the 1988 uprising, I was a high school student, just only 16 years old. And then when the soldiers start shooting, we have to run around wherever we can. So it way worse than what you see in the film. But I understand that, like, actually making a film is very difficult to express the real thing. So basically, if you say for everything, it was a great film. Thank you.
Any more questions, anyone? Maybe if you could stand up. Oh, thank you. Great.
Thank you so much. I found the film very touching, and I'm really sad. I think I cried through half of it. I just wanted to ask you if you feel that there's hope today, and if you feel hopeful for the future for your country, and if democracy is indeed growing.
Well, there's a silver lining in every cloud, and I should stop here, because now it's just changing, and whether it will go For better or for worse, we still don't know yet. So we have to wait for a certain time before it is really democracy or fake. Because, as you know, when authority regimes, not only in Burma, when they let go, they do so with not with the hope of transferring power, but rather in order to control from behind. They will do so only when they can have the ultimate control from behind. And this was the case in everywhere, in South Africa, in Franco, Spain, in Eastern Europe, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and very lately in Russia, where everybody knows that Mikhail Gorbachev is the last commissar of the Soviet Union. So also in Burma here, I think they are controlling from behind and trying to co-opt the opposition to reach their goal of to lessen the sanctions. That is that main goal.
Hi, actually, General Aung San, who is the father of Aung San Suu Kyi, once said, we hope for the best and prepare for the worst. That is the real situation happening in Burma. Right now, it seems like it's opened up for the general elections and by-elections, but in reality, we don't really sure what's going to happen after the NLD representative and then Aung San Suu Kyi go inside the parliament and talk about the future of Burma. So in these situations, we can't exactly say is the Burma is changing to the democratic stage. In my opinion, I think this is the stage before changing. So we just see 3 different stages. And then the first step, this is the stage of understanding each other between the military regime and the opposition party. So as long as military regime, they just honor what they said, it's going to be changed. But as you can see right now, Aung San Suu Kyi also, they are the kind of protesting going into the parliament. So in my point of view, I see that they might have some undisclosed deal, but and then the military doesn't honor what they promised. So that's why I still think they still have a long way to talk to get a better chance for the changing stage. Thank you.
One thing is we have to be very careful not to step in the snare of the military, because the snare is everywhere, and then to everybody persuading to go into their trap. So it is very, very important for the international community to be very careful whether this time is right to go into Burma and do something economic or etc. for their own benefit. Yeah. So it seems that the Aung San Suu Kyi and international committee are they agreed to not to lift the sanction, but to suspend the sanction. So in this case, most of the international community believe that this is the time to go into Burma and grab the chance. So they are rushed to go into Burma and do with the military some economic and political exploitation. So this is very, very important, and to be careful. This time is not the right time to decide what to do, but to see the situation whether, as So said, the military is really genuinely accepting Aung San Suu Kyi in opposition party, but also just to like a scapegoat, or like a ransom to have their the opportunity, the sanction to be lifted. So that is very, very important period.
Any more questions? Thank you. Can you stand up?
Yeah.
And then we can talk?
I was just wondering, do you feel that the government of Canada is doing anything about the incident? Because like personally, as a student and kind of young, I actually have never heard of anything about Burma, except I did see some clippets recently and just little clippets about her. So I'm just wondering, because I've never heard of anything in Burma, so I was just kind of wondering if you think the government's doing anything towards their cause.
The first thing is, does Canada have a first information? The Canada doesn't have any embassy in Burma, which means they have to have on the second hand. They have lifted the sanctions, but I think it's a little too soon. The United States hasn't lifted the sanctions that was announced just about 3 hours ago, whereas the Europeans are just going to suspend the sanctions. So how much have Canada, the barometer is how much can Canada have contribute to the Burmese cause, and that should be the barometer. And I think so far, because we don't have any direct contact, I think it is very hard to answer this question.